This year marks Hugh Jackman's 24th year playing Wolverine, and we thought he was done in 2017 when Logan came out. But Ryan Reynolds worked his magic and sweet-talked our Aussie national treasure into throwing the claws on once again in Deadpool and Wolverine, due out this July. And it's pretty safe to say that Jackman has sported a very eclectic array of assorted costumes ranging from black leather right on up to some good old dirty flannel shirts. And today I'm going to be doing my personal rankings of Hugh Jackman's live-action Wolverine costumes. Stay tuned. Who are we fucking kidding? We all know what my number one's gonna be. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. And yes, today I'm going to be doing my personal rankings of Hugh Jackman's live action Wolverine costumes. Now, I've got these in two different categories. We have casual and the traditional costumes. And by casual, I mean, you know, singlets, leather jackets, suits, stuff like that. And I mean suit as in suit and tie. But when it comes to the traditional costumes, we've got armor plating and a lot of leather. Now, I wouldn't say this is a worst to best because there isn't really a bad look in the bunch. It's just ones that aren't as appealing to me and then the most appealing to me, I guess you could say. Now, if there are any that I happen to leave out, it's probably because they don't have enough screen time or he's just wearing a plain t-shirt. But if the plain t-shirt is your favorite look, that's fucking awesome. Again, this is my ranking, so it's probably going to be different to yours. With that being said, let me know your rankings down below, whether it be the traditional armored costumes or the casual look that he sports in the films. So obviously we're going to be doing the original X-Men films. We've got X-Men Origins Wolverine right up until Deadpool and Wolverine due out in a couple of months' time. So starting off with the casual category, coming in at number 6 is his look in the Wolverine. Now he sports a couple of costume changes, but for the most part, Jackman does indeed sport a full black attire. We're talking black shirt, black pants, black shoes, black tie, a black blazer, and a black trench coat. And it's actually a pretty sleek look for Logan. I remember when they released that first promo still of Hugh Jackman standing there in his nice black attire with the claws. I'm like, I like it. It's sleek, but at the same time, it's not overly memorable. But I do remember all the hoo-ha that was going on when they filmed the Wolverine because, like Fall Guy and then Furiosa, they filmed part of the Wolverine just down the road here at Cornell, most notably that POW camp sequence. And I remember when like the mayor of the Sutherland Shire came out with Hugh Jackman and they did the whole announcement and then they did the kind of tour of the movie set and everything. Like it was an old beach and they decked it out into the POW camp, which is really cool. But getting back to his attire in the film, again, not much else going on. Like he does sport the singlet look a few times, and I will get to the singlet look because it has its own category, but all the films bunched together with the singlet look. But for the most part, I'm talking about his just full black attire. Again, pretty sleek, but overall, not really memorable. Coming in at number 5 for the casual look is Logan, James Mangold's 2017 film, which is in one of my top 10 films of all time. I love how they went out in terms of the character of Logan. They've obviously brought him back, but they're maintaining the legacy of Logan and what happened at the end of Logan. But similar to the Wolverine, like we see Logan as a limo driver, so he sports similar attire, a lot of black, but also I do love that blue button-up shirt with the bloodied singlet underneath. That is very old man Logan. Love that look. And then by the end, he's also got his traditional singlet look. Now coming in at number 4 for the casual look, and there's only a few shots of it in the trailer and the film isn't even out yet, is Deadpool and Wolverine. I kind of put this on its own as opposed to everything else because it kind of has a bit of a different look going on when it comes to the jacket and stuff like that. I love Logan in a leather jacket and like flannel, and they've definitely done the same here. I kind of love how they've arced back to the game that's supposed to be coming out based around Wolverine when he's in the bar and you see that back shot. It's a good look. Very Wolverine, can't complain. Coming in at number 3 is the singleted Logan look from X1, X2, X3, Origins, the Wolverine, you name it. When Hugh Jackman is wearing his singlet, I think he looks terrific to me. It's very Logan. I don't know how it would look. It may look silly if they had gone the route. If they had have put like full-blown body hair on his shoulders and his upper arms, like his biceps and all that, much like he is in the comics. But also you got to suspend disbelief, and also the fact that Hugh Jackman's well over 6 foot. I think he's like 6'3", as opposed to Logan, who's 5'6" in the comics, which makes me feel really good as a 5'9" man. Fun fact, the singlets that were mostly used when Jackman is sporting the singlet look, the brand is Zimmerelli, and you can actually still buy them to this very day, but they do cost a pretty penny because they're kind of like designer, it's the latest fashion in singlets, darling. I actually thought of getting one day when I do a Logan cosplay similar to that down the track once again. I don't know, it just adds a bit of screen accuracy. The fact that you can still buy it, pretty damn cool. Coming in at number 2 for the casual look, and I put this on its own because it's sort of a time period, like, you know, Days of Future Past, but it's Logan's vintage look from X-Men Days of Future Past. Just the period correct leather jacket, the flares, the beautiful flower belt, that beautiful button-up shirt that he has. It's such a good look, such a different look for Logan as well, but it just works and it's so cool. And the fact that all this type of attire has come back into fashion these days. You could walk down the street and be the coolest mofo there is, because it's just so vintage and so cool. And then coming in at number 1 is the leather jacket and flannel look. Now we see this a few times throughout the films. We see a small glimpse of it in X-Men 3, but for the most part, I'm talking about X-Men 1 and X-Men Origins Wolverine with that beautiful leather jacket with the mustard yellow stripes where one part of the stripes fallen off. But I especially love his look in X-Men 1. It's just so heavy and weathered, and that jacket, the flannel, the denim jacket, and then the singlet underneath, the Cherokee belt buckle, everything, the Levi jeans that flare out with his boots. It's just so Wolverine, so casual Wolverine for that matter. I just love the look of it. It's a great looking cosplay if you're not going the route of the traditional armored look, the yellow suit. That is my favorite one by far. Now we're going into the traditional costumes. Now, I just want to put it out there, in X-Men Origins and Logan, we have no traditional costumes. It's just casual civilian attire. However, I do want to give a special mention to the deleted scene from Wolverine where we see the traditional yellow and brown costume, I think it is, that we see Logan take out of a suitcase. Again, this is a deleted scene. We don't technically see him wear it, but it was just nice to see it in a deleted scene, and obviously what could have been, but now we've got him in the traditional yellow suit. So I have 4 place rankings for the traditional suits, and coming in at number 4 is X-Men Apocalypse Weapon X. Even though this isn't the traditional armored look, it's still an awesome adaptation from going from comics to live action with the Weapon X look when Logan was being experimented on. Jean Grey comes in and then they find Logan that's been experimented on, and then they bust him out and he goes on a berserker rage with the headset, the harness, everything. And when you look at the comics and look how it's been translated into real life on Jackman, he looks absolutely incredible. It was just a nice little surprise. I wasn't the biggest fan of X-Men Apocalypse, and these rankings aren't a reflection on my thoughts on the films. But definitely when it came to X-Men Apocalypse, seeing that cameo just made the film's experience a whole lot better. And that says a lot when it's just a cameo. Coming in at number 3, and I've grouped these together, is the leather biker suits from X-Men 1, X-Men 2, and X-Men 3. I still remember when the teaser trailer came out for X-Men 1, and I saw Hugh Jackman in his leather adorned costume for the first time, all black, sleek. I'm like, that is badass. And these suits are definitely a product of the time, early 2000s. Again, I've said this ad nauseum, when comic book movies were still trying to figure their shit out, but also just the biker look. It was so cool. It was so badass. I love how the leather pants flare out like Logan's jeans. That's a nice little touch. And just also, I love the little throwback and the little dig in the first X-Men where Cyclops says, well, what do you want to wear? Yellow spandex? 2024, here we are. It only took you 24 years, man. Now, fun fact, Jose Fernandez, who founded Ironhead Studios, worked on the X-Men 2 leather suits. There's an amazing video on Adam Savage's Tested YouTube channel of Norm interviewing Jose Fernandez about the X2 suits and how he improved upon them from the first one, and how Hugh Jackman loved the flexibility of the suits in the second film. And there's a lot of mixed media going on, and I do bunch the 3 of them together, even though some designs change and the patterns change a lot, but for the most part the overall design is pretty much the same. And those 3 films are definitely grouped together. And I think those suits, even though they're a product of the time, they're so badass, so cool. They make for great cosplays. And it's just an interesting interpretation from going from yellow and blue or yellow and brown just to sleek black motorcycle gear. Coming in at number 2 is Hugh Jackman's look in Days of Future Past, where he's armored up. Not the casual look, but the armored look. This is a very interesting look. It's well on the way to becoming what is the traditional costume, the blues, the yellows. But there's a lot of mixed media going on here. We have a skin-tight undersuit that has hints of blues and mustards. And fun fact, those gloves are pre-existing baseball gloves. Most notably, they are Eastern baseball gloves. I used to own a pair, and they're actually pretty comfy. And it's cool. You just put the slots in there, put your claws through. So they used a pre-existing baseball glove that is readily available to this day, mostly on eBay, but you can definitely get them. And like, we obviously have the heavy armored boots, the cargo pants, but the plating on the torso is pretty interesting. Again, going in that direction of what is to become. And perfect segue, my number one is the finally traditional costume we get in Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, the film isn't out yet, but I already know this is my number one, and for a lot of people too. Now, upon further reflection since the trailer came out, the latest trailer a couple of days ago where we see the sleeves ripped off, don't get me wrong, he looks absolutely incredible, but upon further reflection, I'm like, why did they take the shoulder pads off? The shoulder pads are integral to that look of the sleeveless Logan look. So I don't know what the design choice was there, but apart from that, aesthetically, this looks incredible. And this is probably the best you are gonna get in terms of a live action adaptation from comic book cartoons to the big screen with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in his traditional yellow and blue suit. I heard murmurs at one point that it was going to be yellow and black or yellow and brown, which still would have been great, but just the paneling, the aesthetic, the way it hugs Hugh's body, just how jacked he's gotten for the role, the way he moves in it, it looks incredible. Just that silhouette that he casts with that beautiful V-taper. I love the look of it, and I haven't even seen the film yet. Again, it only took him 24 years, but we finally got a traditional suit. And with that being said, guys, those are my personal rankings of Hugh Jackman's live action Wolverine costumes, whether it be the casual look or the traditional armored costume look. Like I said, my list is probably going to be different to yours. So with that being said, let me know down below what your rankings are, the casual look, the armored look. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.